I think language definitely has a big part in how you kind of understand reality,
Yeah,
and that like
definitely. Yeah.
you can. I think they don't see a sun and a moon as kind of a social construct, but we come up with these kind of okay, they are different things, they're different entities, but we kind of come up with these social category, construct these categories like what is a moon and what is a star, and that because it provides some kind of utility to us.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe then the question is kind of if we have the whole trans women thing, it's okay. Well, why do we have the category of women, and is it beneficial to expand? Because you can change the definition of the word. So is it beneficial to expand it? I would say honestly, no. I don't think it is. I think it's a bit unnecessary. But
wait, what do you think it is unnecessary
anyone.
to have the concept of a woman or to define it as such?
Oh no, to define to expand the definition of women such that trans women are seen as women.
Well, yeah. Well, it's a different concept, isn't it? That's why trans... And this is another thing as well, that people will say, trans people think they are women, but they're not. They're just a man. Well, they think they're a trans woman, and they recognise through that concept. They know they're not a cis woman. That's why there is the whole concept of the cis thing. They think they're a trans... They think they're a trans woman. And they know that they were born male biologically, and they have gender dysphoria, and there you go. They're not delusional, and I hate the right. Not the right. I won't say the right, but a lot of right-wing people, or far-right people specifically, not the whole right, of course.
Yeah, this is a hard it's a hard debate to have the transgender one of those ones. The words are very there's a lot of confusion with female versus woman. But I think you have to be very careful with how you have the debate, because you can get all the words mixed up and you basically start talking past each other. But I don't know. What would you say? Would you define? Because you kind of said gender is kind of social, but kind of downstream from biology in a way. Is that kind of what you're saying? I think
it derived from biology, but it is a social construct now because it kind of twists and turns into its own different thing a bit, but not that much really. At the end of the day.
It's I don't know. So what if someone said to you, "Are trans women?" What do you think your response would be?
If someone said that to me, then I would say yes, because a lot of the time we're not. You're probably I don't know. I would say yes because we're referring to social presentation.
The social role.
Their actual gender, their actual sex doesn't matter to you unless you're fucking them. So.
I mean, yeah, I guess the problem is that I kind of tried this idea, but I basically found that there was no meaningful way I could define a woman if I allowed trans women to be women.
Yeah.
Because, here's the thing, right?
But in terms of gender... Wait, before you go on. In terms of gender, though, they are. Because of what gender means, the definition of it. It's a social presentation. It's the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you dress, etc. Right? Everything like that. The way people perceive you as well, especially, which is why it's interesting when someone really tries their hardest but still doesn't present as, let's say, a woman. It's weird. Does that mean that they're not? Partly, I think it does, unfortunately. That really just sucks, but there you go. So in terms of gender, they are a trans woman. In terms of gender, yes. In terms of biology, no. And they don't think it either. They know that they're not. But it doesn't really matter like that.
I guess, I don't know. Okay, well, here's something, right? So I guess, and, I guess this is almost the question, what's his face? Is it Matt Walsh? Am I getting confused?
Oh, bloody hell.
Matt Walsh. When he says the what is the woman thing. And, to be fair, I seen the clips from it, and it was actually quite unusual seeing him kind of ask all these, what I guess could almost consider experts in the field that they were. I don't know, I mean, at least that's what the documentary claims, that these people were kind of, their gender studies or something, yada yada. And he says to them, "What is a woman?" And it kind of stumps them. They actually can't answer.
I know, and I don't understand why. It's really pathetic. Shouldn't you know the answer to that? You're in that field.
But then here's the thing, right? So I think this is kind of why I came to the conclusion that women, even as like a social thing, I think it has to be an aspect of biology to it. And the reason why is because I basically started just considering all these like hypothetical, these kind of situations, and I couldn't even seem to work my way out of it. So, like, for example, consider, let's say, the kind of butch lesbian archetype. Like, you've got a lesbian who's not very feminine at all. They're quite masculine in their presentation. In some ways they could be mistaken for a man walking down the street. The clothes they wear. And then think of like a trans woman, in the sense that maybe they are more traditionally a woman. In this, they act in the more traditional female way, or woman way. They wear female clothes and or like woman's clothes.
Yeah.
Really careful words. Woman's clothes. They dress and everything. Is it almost? Could you then almost say that in like a weird way, because it's just a social role?
Yeah.
Could you kind of say that the trans woman is more of a woman than the butch lesbian?
That's interesting, and I thought about that, but the where he phrased it is really good, actually. I think actually, in a way,
lesbian, are they not?
In a way,
because they don't fall into the social. No, they're not really.
In a way, you could actually, but only in a kind of weird, specific way. But you're saying, you would mistake them maybe for a man, but that's only like a glance mistake. If you really spoke to them and interacted with them, you wouldn't mistake them. You'd know they're a woman, not even if it wasn't a biological thing. Maybe you thought they were trans or something. Maybe you would understand. And then if everything else is male, then by definition they would be a man in a gender.
Yeah, I guess maybe I mean like the really, really butch lesbian, like they wear very masculine clothes. Okay, you can probably tell they're a woman, but
let's say you can't tell they're a woman even physically, so we remove the physical aspects of it.
What? So as in like you can't
physically.
Yeah,
you just
whether
can't
you can tell or not.
Yeah, you can't tell what they are physically. So we can isolate the gender aspect.
I mean, would you?
I mean, if
so
they,
I
just said, if they really commit to every male gender aspects, then they would be a man in terms of gender by the definition of gender.
I guess so, but then I imagine butch lesbians still see themselves as women.
But maybe they do. Well, let's say if they were like that, and butch lesbians probably do act as women, just in a less sort of way. But maybe if they are actually a trans man, but they don't realize it. Oh, that's actually a really hard situation to talk about, isn't it? But,
it's kind of like, maybe this is kind of, you can also say, being almost overly rational about things, like to the point of where it's like there are always going to be unusual people and people that don't quite fit into your categories because we're all humans. But
yeah.
I mean, at the same time, I don't know. It seems interesting that like there are different arguments I've kind of thought of for what a woman is, and the most irritating one is the kind of, what is a woman? Oh, it's a woman. Anyone who identifies as a woman is a woman. It's like, well, but then what is the essence of like what a woman is? I mean, maybe you could make that argument that a woman just is a woman. It's just someone who identifies as a woman.
I wouldn't argue that it's someone that
seems very extreme.
Well, maybe when people say identify, they refer to someone who says that they are. But if you aren't, then you aren't. You can't just. I couldn't just say I'm a woman, and it be true. It would not be true. I would still be a man because I'm cisgendered, obviously, but I also present as a man in every way, very much so. So I'm not. So I could say what I bloody want, but it's not true.
But then the butch lesbian that then presents as a man in every way, as in the sense that they.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because I imagine.
I'm saying that they could be wrong about themselves.
Yeah.
But it is interesting because I don't have all the answers and I'm not claiming to. But I'm just trying to.
Of course. Me neither.
Yeah.
I think these are things where. Maybe no one will have the answer to this. I could just be problems with almost the way humans think. Like, maybe you could almost say there is a kind of like, maybe what a woman is it's kind of, there is just an idea of what a woman is, but it's very hard to define and rigidly, and people just kind of, there's always going to be, is ContraPoints a woman? I don't know.
In terms of gender,
if I saw ContraPoints on the street, I probably wouldn't question it.
Of course, you definitely
maybe
wouldn't.
I see something and
you definitely wouldn't.
It depends how they made themselves look. Like if I'm not the kind of person who's staring at people thinking they're transgender or not all day, but you might maybe I look at them and think, I don't know, they look slightly unusual, but not really. And then,
nowadays, they look very much female. I don't know how you could ever mistake them.
You could also then maybe even see, you could maybe get people's actual sex wrong, where you could see someone and from behind they look like a man or something, or look like a woman from behind. So it's a weird one. It's a strange one that maybe we. But I don't know. Or like then I'm thinking, what was I really trying to say? Like there's a kind of so you might see someone like ContraPoints and you might be more willing to call her a woman, but then you see someone who's like really not passing as a someone who's a trans woman that does not at all look like a woman, and you might I'd find my brain would be kind of somewhat inclined to say he in my head.
Yeah, unfortunately, it would
be reacting to stimuli.
Yeah, because and that's why I'm saying it's quite interesting if someone really you can tell that then they're not passing, and it's because of a biological problem, and they just can't physically, even though they are fully trans. Maybe that doesn't make them fully the gender that they are inside, because no one will perceive them fully in that way, and that's really unfortunate. Actually, that really sucks.
Yeah, I know what to do with the transgender. Well, I don't know what transgender population, like how to kind of what the conclusion is. But I feel like almost all the routes that are kind of given to them are almost subpar. Like there's always some drawback. There's some basically you've been born with this like really
mental
kind of
condition.
Pretty horrible state of being.
Yeah.
Where you basically don't like your own biology.
Well, it's not that you don't like; it's more than that, of course.
So you hate the other self kind of loathing.
It's not even like that. You just need to be the other thing, of course, because what if you woke up as a woman? You wouldn't just be all good of it.
That's an interesting hypothetical. Like, what would you do if you woke up as a woman? Would you try and transition back to a man, or would you just be a woman?
I guess I would try and transition back to a man, but at the same time, I'm a bit of a hypochondriac, so I don't like surgeries and stuff. And
honestly, I think if I woke up tomorrow, my biology was permanently a woman. I think I'd just be a woman. I don't think I'd be bothered until I change my body.
You'd be the most butch. You wouldn't be though. You would totally not. Especially you as well. You would totally.
Yeah, it would be. I'd probably definitely be like the most. Yeah, like.
You wouldn't be a woman in terms of gender, but you wouldn't physically try. I think you would eventually be like, shit, I'm actually not. I can't do this. I'm a man.
Maybe. I don't know. It depends. I'm wondering how much it would bother me. So on one hand, I like being a man because of all the advantages it brings in the sense that I'm physically stronger. I don't have to be pregnant. I don't have to do this. All around, and it's as far as say, but just being a man is just kind of better.
No, I know. I get you, actually. And that's why I feel like we should respect women more to kind of equalise it.
Yeah, because
what? The person from Stranger Things is trans. That's crazy. You don't know them.
Wait, which Stranger Things?
No, you don't know them. It was the kind of token gay guy in Stranger Things, I think. He was kind of a bitchy gay guy, but they're a woman now, as it seems.
Really?
Yes. That's.
So what season were they in?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's just interesting when you see people.
But because I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I would be. Okay, I don't actually know how I would react. For some reason, in my brain, it doesn't seem like a massive deal. Just thinking about it now, I feel like, okay. First of all, waking up and your biology will change would be absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
To say it was more like you woke up tomorrow, it was like, oh shit, I'm a woman, but all the pictures of you and your family and everything have changed to you being a woman and everything. So no one's gonna question you.
Oh, of course, yeah. Removing that aspect, yeah, of course. That's how I was perceiving that hypothetical.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, like, what I'm trying to think. Is it just the fact that I'm blissfully ignorant that I, thinking, oh, I wouldn't be too bad.
No,
then, like,
you are. You have to be. You would hate it. You would totally transition. If not physically, socially, and it wouldn't take a week for you to be like, fuck this, 100%. Not 100%, but I'm telling you, man.
I think in a weird way, what would be the things that would really piss me off? Being physically weaker, that would really piss me off.
Yeah.
That would suck. And just feeling like literally any man can just overpower you. Like not even, literally, like, this is the thing that's insane, right? So, like, a man can do, like, 1 month of gym work and basically overpower any woman. Anyone.
Well, I know you're being hyperbolic, but yes, I get you at the same time.
Kind of. I mean, obviously, if you have self-defense training as a woman, that's probably a good thing to do, because it's a mad, bad world. But it's kind of true. Like, and I mean, not in the sense. Obviously, we all have morals and stuff, but I mean, as in, if you put average man, average woman in a room, you turned off their higher brain power, and you just said, kill each other. It's going to be the man, like 99% of the time, that's going to come out of that.
It definitely.
Even maybe with self-defense stuff on the woman's stuff. Yeah, it's kind of depressing how disproportionate it is.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Here's an interesting thought I had the other day. This is a controversial, interesting one. I was thinking about. But you've watched some of Stranger Things, right? Have you seen? I don't want to spoil anything. It's not really spoiled because it's very early stuff.
Okay.
But have you seen much of 11? Do you know what happens in the very beginning of the show?
Everyone thinks they're a boy, right, at the start.
Oh no, as in like the beginning of the most recent season. What season?
What happens? Does it get referred to as? I don't know. What happens? I've seen the start.
Wait, have you've seen, how many episodes are you in season 4?
I don't know. Halfway through the thing. If it's at the start, then I've seen it.
Oh, okay. So you kind of know that 11's character is kind of like picked on by those arsehole.
Yeah.
By the popular girls at school.
Yeah.
And this is something I was thinking. Right, I was thinking.
She breaks her nose.
High school, stereotypical high school thing where that was whacks her on the skull.
That was savage after that.
Which is pretty epic.
Yeah.
and here's something I was thinking, right, is that if let's say you're a man instead, let's change to the kind of situation. Say you're a man and you're being like picked on by kind of almost psychologically by a group of teenage girls. Would it be okay? This is a weird one, but I guess I was kind of thinking this, like, the way I've always interpreted bullying or like picking on someone is that if you're going to do that, you have to accept that it could get violent. That someone might decide to get violent with you.
I think
if you're going to try and pick on someone,
if you're trying to pick on a boy and you are a boy as well, you're saying, because boys just generally are. It makes sense. They kind of coded that way.
I'm not actually like. Don't beat up a girl. Obviously, that's not good because you're a man. And
I disagree with that notion. If someone's fucking with you, then there you go.
Oh well, I mean, if they're like trying to attack you, hurt you, yeah.
Yeah.
But as in, like, let's say, I don't know, someone's like bullying you, a girl at school, a group of girls, causing you, a lot of stress. They're bullying you. If you were to like, how would you think about the idea of like that boy walking up and just basically, in a weird way, reminding them that you can basically kill all of them?
It's it's cutthroat and it's harsh and it's horrible, but I feel like I don't know how I feel about that actually, because it's like reminding them that you're in an unfair situation. You're the one who's in the unfair situation here. If let's say average girls and an average boy, obviously, because it's not going to work if it's a 6-foot girl and a 5'6" boy as much, and the girl goes to the gym and the boy doesn't. Then the boy is going to get demolished, even if it was 2 boys and 1 girl at the end of the day. But Yeah, that. Oh man, I don't even know what to say about that. But that's really interesting.
I was thinking about like, because on one, I think like it's weird. I almost thought of it like a movie scene. I was thinking like of a kind of, and that'd be interesting. Like, how would people feel about that if that was to say? Imagine the scene. So you've got, um, so you got, I don't know, this boy. You know, he's getting to around 16. He's starting to get a bit bigger. He's starting to get stronger. You know.
Yeah.
And all these girls, group of girls, you know, they kind of name call, they spread rumors, they cause him problems, they shout, and they kind of demean him, and they make his life just hell. And he just feels like, I don't know, worth it. And one day, one of them says something to him, so he turns around, he just realizes he can't take it anymore.
I can't take it anymore.
Basically, just walks right up into the main one's face and just basically stares them right in the eye until they get a bit kind of scared. And
that sounds like an epic Reddit moment. Thing.
It does sound like a Reddit moment. How would kind of be just like an Andrew Tate, Andrew Tate. You are a woman. I hate women. That moment. But, like what? I wonder how people would respond to that. Like, who is in the right in that situation of like, is she's a bully? Should she, is that just kind of, if you...
Yeah, I think if they're a bully, then you
bullying,
deserve that. But the problem kind of comes where other women will be reminded that they don't have that power as well, which is like, oh, that's annoying, isn't it?
Yeah, and maybe there is a side of like, I don't know, on one hand...
Generally,
should you be thinking about like, women are in a different position, maybe it's not good to physically intimidate them. But then at the same time, you could say, but if physically intimidating that one woman who's making your life hell in school and you want to assert kind of dominance, is that necessarily right? I don't know. I mean, it feels horrible, but it always kind of feels...
But if someone's being an arsehole, then you get what you get. And it's just unfortunate that it has to be like that. Yeah. But I think if you have power and you're wielding it for the right, you should wield your power for the right. And it annoyed me because I feel like Andrew Tate, for example, like I think you mentioned a second ago, he's like 6'3" or something. But so he's like a bloody boxer as well. But he's such an arsehole. I feel like someone just needs to absolutely demolish him one day and put him in his place. But it's not going to happen because the average person isn't a 6'3" person with a boxing career, So he's got power to wield, but he's an arsehole and he doesn't deserve that power, and that's really unfortunate. But if you're using it for right, which obviously he knows himself he's not using it for right, then that's good, and you should be able to do that. The problem is that you can use it for wrong.
Do you think? Then I suddenly thought, right, around 16, is when men start to become more kind of physically intimidating in terms of their doing. Yeah, and girls do bully men, maybe like do bully boys when they're younger, right? That
psychological bullying.
I think happens
the psychological bullying, though.
But there might be, But do you reckon maybe then? I suddenly thought, do you reckon it's like the kind of any kind of bullying that happens intersex from girls to boys? Do you think maybe that at some point stops just because of like the physical side of like men becoming bigger?
Yeah,
maybe in like a psychological level,
definitely
women are just
does,
like,
and then
actually maybe I need to stop because
it does. But then I think it can start again. Women socially are more smart in general, I think, and I think women have got an advantage in terms of emotional manipulation. And when someone's in a relationship, you can do that. That's the optimum time to be able to do that if you're a horrible person.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And obviously if someone's a bully, and especially a bully as an adult as well, then they are a horrible person. So then you could do that to a man in a relationship. So it stands strong there, because then it doesn't matter how strong you are physically. When you're being emotionally manipulated, then there you go.
It's funny, the image I got in my head a few moments ago of like the boy physically. It was such a funny image. It was just like a group of girls, and they're all like smart, and then like Will Byers. Somebody's like seen Will Byers from the most recent season of Stranger Things walking up to the girls from the Stranger, they're all kind of chuckling, and he just goes up and just like imposes himself, just stares into the eyes of one of them, and they all kind of like cower back, and it was such a funny image. Just Will Byers.
Yeah, well, he's not exactly a dominant character, is he?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, he's I don't know what. Yeah, it's a interesting show though. Stranger Things. It is the cultural they call it zeitgeist,
Yeah.
the Volksgeist. It's not just the zeitgeist, the Volksgeist.
Don't know what that means, but there we go.
Zeitgeist is the spirit of the time, and then Volksgeist is the spirit of the people.
Okay, that's interesting.
So I guess I mean, yeah. What's the kind of usual word? I think zeitgeist, cultural zeitgeist. I think that's something that people say. General intellectual moral. Okay, that's not really okay. That's not. Maybe that doesn't really refer to Stranger Things. I mean, I don't know. Maybe in some ways, but not really.